Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Definitely was going to do this yesterday, but I realized the Ravens game was yesterday. And yeah, I knew nobody was about to watch that. Not saying nobody would have watched, but yeah. Shout out to the Bengals, though. That was a crazy win. Well, it wasn't crazy, it was kind of predicted. So I already knew that was going to happen. All right, so let's get into it. So, first of all, I want to thank everybody that reposted, took the time to watch, gave me feedback, you know, told me what I could have done better with, things like that. I really appreciate that. I'm really going to get this thing to grow. Very confident in what I'm doing, and y'all support is loved and I'm grateful for it. Sorry. So tonight, I kind of want to stay on topic because that was one of the concerns from one of my friends. And this time I took the time to write everything out, write my thoughts out, and completely stay on topic with things. So first and foremost, I wanted to talk about relationships, right? And I'm not talking about like love relationships. I'm talking about the relationships we have with our family, friends, etc. I feel like again we get stuck on the we get stuck on the love aspect of relationships, and we kind of don't dissect the relationships we have with people who we deem to be our friends, or even the cousins or family members that you have a relationship with that's day to day. And when I was a kid, right, I'm pretty sure we all experienced this. When we was kids, you either had a parent or an adult kind of tell you how they ain't like a particular friend you had, or a person that you should watch out for. And you never kind of understood it, right? When you was a child, you never understood why your parents ain't like such and such from down the street. You just knew you genuinely liked the person you hung out with. So as I got older, I realized how important the relationship with friends is. The saying is the birds of a feather flock together, right? So to me, I see that as like whatever they doing, you gonna be doing, right? So as I got older, I think my first experience with it was with an old friend that I grew up with. And actually, my best friend at the time, we had probably been best friends for like 5 years at this point. But they pointed out that this particular person only came around when I got paid, right? So I never really looked into it. I'm like, man, you tripping. That's my man's. We've been hopping buses. We've been out here. We've been doing everything together. I don't feel that way. But sure enough, when the money stopped coming, I lost my little job at the time. And sure enough, he stopped hitting my phone. So that was like my little lesson right there with like, I got to watch the people who I tend to hang with. You know what I'm saying? Some relationships, they have its benefit, but I feel like if with certain people, you have the intention on using them, you should let them know that. Like, you can do the same thing in friendships. Like, using people doesn't just stop in the sense of like love relationships, right? You can use people to get ahead, or whatever you try and do in life. And I understand it's politics. As you get older and you go from job to job, you realize that it's politics in everything we do, from the street, from the workplace to corporate. It's politics. It's all politics, right? And I think the one thing that I hate about politics is that you at some point got to befriend somebody that you may not like, right? Now, the thing that you could do is just be upfront about your intentions. if I know that I'm only rocking with you because, yo, you you can help me get this promotion or whatever you want to call it, right? You can help me get ahead. I'm gonna let you know that. Like, I'm not about to just sit there and play with your feelings, right? I'm not about to really make it seem like we friends and whole time I know I'm just using you for something. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be like, look, you cool. You have knowledge on what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm trying to do with it, right? The mistake that I think a lot of people make is, corrupting the situation as like making it genuine. Like, oh, I'm genuinely your friend. And see, what happens is there's going to be a test to that friendship. You know what I'm saying? And when they fold, it's like you be hurt. But then when you really dissect the situation, you realize like, oh, you know what? We met on these terms, and you get what I'm saying? I should have seen it coming, things like that. So you really got to watch the people you have around you, and you really got to understand what their purpose is for in your life, right? And that's kind of leading me into my next subject, which is how do we separate from people that we no longer have value with, right? So I've been in situations where certain things have happened. I've been a casualty to loyalty. People have chosen other scenarios over me. And eventually they try to double back. But by then, you done already shown me your characteristics. So it's like, I can't rock with that now. You get what I'm saying? You are who you are. And that's cool and all, but when you played me, you get what I'm saying? You made that choice. And certain situations, it's not always going to be that direct. Some situations, it could be, y'all outgrow each other. I've had situations where I've outgrown people, family, friends, people that at one point in time I thought was going to be there forever. And then once you get to a certain point in your life, you realize like, okay, I'm on this and y'all on that, right? I don't want to continue to indulge in those things that aren't helping me progress. So you can distance yourself. I mean, I'm not saying for some certain situations it's like a lot of love there. Sometimes you gotta just let them know, like, listen, there's love here. If you need me, reach out. But seeing you every day doing the same thing we doing, like, nah, that's dead. Like, I'm on something else completely different. And I just feel like you kind of got to do that as an adult, especially if you have goals in mind. You don't want to find yourself still doing some of the things you did in your early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, however old you are. You really don't want to stay in the same place. And some of the situations that you in with these people that you call friends, you really got to look at it and be like, you know what? Are you really bringing value to my life? See, my friends, at least the ones I hold near and dear, they all have three things in common, and they not even cool with each other. Not saying they can't be cool, but they don't really know each other. And the three things they have in common is, one, they hold me accountable. You get what I'm saying? Like, they'll tell me if I'm tripping, when I'm wrong. They'll play devil's advocate. You get what I'm saying? The second thing is that they always tell me the truth. Or at this point in my life, I feel like they always tell me the truth. And them telling me the truth is telling me they want to see me grow and get better as a person or a man. And last but not least, one that I find the most important is after the advice that they give me, they don't judge me. You get what I'm saying? It'll be like, okay, you chose that, and that's what that is, and I'm going to respect that. You know what I'm saying? They don't step on my neck about the decisions I made. You get what I'm saying? They'll give me the advice, but they won't bash me for going a different route. And those are the three things like my good friends have in common. They keep me accountable, they're honest, and they don't bash me for my decisions. And I think you just got to figure out the friendships that you have. Again, what value are they bringing into your life? Are they helping you grow and becoming the person you want to be, or, reaching whatever goals you need to reach? Like I said, birds of a feather flock together. If these people over here ain't getting to it, 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to get to it. If you with a bunch of people that's out here rocking and rolling, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be rocking and rolling. That was one thing I think that I understood very well once I got in the gym. Once I got on my first weight loss journey, I started surrounding myself with people that was getting it. And it's like, yeah, they'd call me, yo, you hitting the gym today? Yeah, I'm coming. I don't feel like it, but I'm coming. You get what I'm saying? Like, those are the type of friends I needed in that period of my life. And now I'm at a different period, and some people have survived, with me going through everything. I said, you know what? I need this person. I need to be friends with this person because this person is helping me become the man or human being that I want to be. You get what I'm saying? That's that on that topic. I just feel like, again, you have to really, really dissect those friendships, and hopefully they're bringing you some type of value in your life that you can gain access to. All right, so here is my next subject. And this goes into one of the things I was just talking about as far as my friendships. The biggest thing that I have come to be more skillful in, which is accountability, right? So a few years ago, I was going through like a crazy time in my life. Like, I was very upset. I was very angry. And again, my best friend suggested, like, yo, you should go to therapy. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, nothing wrong with me. I ain't crazy. And she like, nah, but you got a lot of pent up rage and anger. You might end up taking that out on somebody or on yourself. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take her advice. So I eventually stepped into therapy. And I do recommend therapy for black men especially. We hold some weight on our shoulders that keep us in the same situations. But anyway, so my therapist said something one day, and I was stuck on it. And she mentioned the word accountability, right? Like, accountability, what is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? What is that? And once she broke it down to me, it was like, it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole of every scenario in life that I could be honest about and say I didn't take accountability in that situation, right? I really went down this rabbit hole of like, oh, that's what that is. That's what that was. You get what I'm saying? Like, one of the things that I realized I had to understand the difference between my accountability and my pride, or I really would say knowing the difference from pride and respect, because if somebody brought something to my attention, right, I get upset, right? Like, nah, what you tripping? Like, nah, I ain't do none of that. What you saying, that didn't happen, and it go down like that. You misunderstood me, whatever. But once I, like I said, went to therapy and went back and reflected on a lot of those situations, I understood, like, oh, no, this person was just trying to hold me accountable, right? And my pride got ahead and said, no, that's disrespect. And I would always start arguments off of that because I'm not trying to hear that right now. You get what I'm saying? Whatever you want, I'm not trying to hear that. It was your fault, not my fault. You took it the wrong way. Whatever excuse I could come up with. And a lot of times, I feel like people really do conflict the two. Like, people really do take accountability as disrespect, and they let their pride lead with the conversation. And the next thing you know, y'all arguing. And it's like, yo, it was really something as simple as, yo, you not doing what you supposed to do, or you not sticking with those goals. You get what I'm saying? It could have been something like that. Especially in my younger days, somebody held me accountable. It was just like, ugh. But I realized what it did for my life. Accountability made me a better listener, right? It made me really sit back and say, okay, I did that. I apologize. And how can I move forward, or how can we move forward? Whatever the situation it was that I had with the person. Sometimes it's with myself. Sometimes I be having these conversations with myself and be like, yo, you ain't do that. And then I get upset and I be like, man, I ain't even trying to think of that right now. And it's like, nah, like you're trying to become whatever it is that you're trying to become. And that accountability is going to keep you on track. I think, like I said, it just helped me in life. You know what I'm saying? I don't go into arguments the same way no more. I don't get defensive. I listen. You know what I'm saying? I listen and I dissect the situation for whatever it is. And I understand, like, okay, this is what I did to you. And I apologize for that. I got to take ownership of that. You get what I'm saying? That was the beautiful thing about accountability. Like I said, no one had ever taught me that. And it was like I said, therapy gave me some tools. And it was just, again, it was a beautiful thing. I had a great time in therapy. I may go back. I mean, I don't feel like I'm stressing out anything right now. I definitely feel like it's useful. And maybe one day I'll go back. I don't know. Right now, not saying I don't need it, but I don't feel it's a necessity right now. I'm not having any feelings of anxiety too much. But I do have my days. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I definitely have my days with that shit. But for the most part, yeah, I think if you having some issues with that, I think you should definitely try to figure out how to accept accountability in your life. It's definitely a great tool. I definitely think it's one of those tools that allow you to reach whatever levels in life that you're trying to reach. Again, I'm going through my notes here, so just bear with me. So the next thing I wanted to talk about too is being honest with yourself. How do we step into that space? And when I say step into that space, I mean some of us are honest with ourselves, but some of us are very harsh with our honesty when it comes to what we say to ourselves. You get what I'm saying? The saying goes, we are our biggest critics. And how can you do that in a healthy way? Because that definitely is a toxic way of being honest with yourself. I've seen it personally. I've caught people spazzing out in a moment of honesty with themselves and just calling themselves all type of wicked things that I would never say to myself. But I definitely have had my moments where I was being harsh on myself. Again, going back to therapy, one of the things I was taught was give yourself some grace. You get what I'm saying? You definitely have to understand that you are human, and being human, you're going to make mistakes. That's just what life is. Life is a constant roller coaster. You're going to have moments where you're up, and then you're going to have moments where you're down, and that's just how it goes forever. You're never going to be like this. The only way you're doing that is if you did, to be real with you. If you flatlining like that, you out of here. But you definitely got to understand, with your honesty, you can be truthful to yourself, but you don't have to sit there and be like, man, I'm dumb as shit for that, or I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. I have a friend that kind of does that, and I always got to remind him, like, yo, don't say that about yourself. Like, you going to get to where you got to get to. I know you slipping, but you human, give yourself some grace. The thing in that, though, is like when you're being honest with yourself, and again, like I said, you can be straightforward. It's just got to be in the context of, like, for example, like if my bank account wasn't looking the way I wanted to look, right? It's like, well, bro, you have been spending money on food, clothes, or just, I have a habit of buying like shit I don't need from Walmart. I kind of do it a lot, sort of. But that's me being honest with myself and adjusting. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is why this is looking like this. Now what can I do to change that? And sometimes it takes outsmarting yourself, right? One of the things about being honest with yourself is knowing yourself, right? So it's like, if you know you have a hard time resisting something or doing a certain task, again, to go back to my weight loss journey, my first go around, I would wear my gym clothes to sleep. I would go to bed in my gym clothes, pop right up, brush my teeth, wash my face. I'm at the gym. You get what I'm saying? It was just like I was just outsmarting myself because I knew if I had to get up, look for clothes, do all the brushing, my teeth, washing my face, and I was just going to come up with every excuse to just not go and get back in the bed or not go and watch whatever was on TV that day. So that's why, and being honest with myself, I said, okay, I got to outsmart myself now. So this is what I'll do to prevent that. You get what I'm saying? Like when it comes to saving money, if you know you swipe, sometimes it's best to just take out the cash, right? I mean, at one point in time when I was saving money real heavy, I left my bank card at home because I'm like, I'm only spending this today and that's it. You get what I'm saying? Because that was me being honest with myself and understanding if I take that card, I'm getting whatever I want. But I had a goal in mind, which was I needed to save a certain amount of money to do something I wanted to do. So I said, I'm going to take out $20 or $40 and I'm going to, boom. I mean, Apple Pay is making it kind of hard to stay on track with that. You get what I'm saying? But that's what I would do because, again, I was being honest with myself. But when you talking to yourself, you don't have to talk to yourself crazy. You don't have to be disrespectful. I understand, especially some of us men, if we play sports, we have a funny way of self-motivating ourselves, and we use certain language that really isn't positive or reinforcing positive vibes per se. So you got to really watch out for that when you using that self-honesty. About to go back to my notes. Like I said, I wrote everything down. And this time, I'm going to stay on track. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is... This is a hard one because it's really like... I have a hard time with sometimes letting go of things. I don't know if that's the Capricorn in me or it's just my issues with just reflecting on the past a lot. I feel like when you're moving forward, because to me, the whole conversation that I'm having today is about moving forward with friends, family, certain situations, and being able to, again, hold yourself accountable and being honest with yourself to move forward. But some of us, sometimes we can get caught up in, holding on to the past. And I'm not going to sit and say I'm an expert in being able to let it go, but I have done the work and have gotten a lot better with being able to let certain issues go. You get what I'm saying? I mean, if some of y'all have some comments to say on how y'all did things and was able to let certain things go to move forward, you can drop them in the comments. But I think one of the major things that helped me is understanding that my process requires a smaller circle. Some people were meant to be in my life for a small period of time, teach me whatever I needed to be taught, and that was it. You get what I'm saying? Even the scenarios that happened to me where I felt like, again, people I would have took a bullet for, done me dirty, I just took it as, I had to see what that looked like and see where that came from to understand how to navigate through that if it ever approaches itself again. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, again, sometimes it can be very, very difficult to let go of the past because sometimes pain can motivate you, right? A lot of us, when we get hurt, we get on our grind. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was hurt. I'm going to do overtime or I'm going to work another job and whatever you need to do, right? And sometimes I really believe that's a distraction. I don't believe it's it can be motivation. Now it can be motivation, but again, I don't really like using pain to motivate me, because then once I become used to using that pain, I'm gonna always look back to get it. You get what I'm saying? Like, what if I'm in a position where I'm feeling like I'm unmotivated, and I'm like, oh, I remember when did this to me, and then oh yeah, and then I'm gonna just go down a rabbit hole, and then sometimes when you're moving forward, doing that can bring up old emotions that you were supposed to let go because they're not useful in your life anymore. You get what I'm saying? The past is, it can be a tricky thing, and I understand a lot of us use it. Like, a lot of us use it to put ourselves in the mindset to go hard or achieve something, because we want those people who did us dirty or those situations that didn't pan out to feel like they missed out on us. And I understand too, like, yes, you need to use the past to learn from it, but at the same time, when you living in it, that's the dangerous part of it. And I try to, like I say, not use it to motivate me or to be the reason to why I want to be successful and things like that. And I'm human. There's definitely been situations where I've been like, damn, I remember when this person did this to me, and man, if I ever run into them again, I'm going to da-da-da-da and shit on them, or whatever you want to do, or whatever the scenario is for you, or however you wanted to go, because whatever they did to you, you want them to know that you okay and you made it without them. But again, I think that's a perception-based thing. I think some of us might look at the past as a guide to moving forward as well. And some of us look to the past to live in it, to make excuses for why we're the way we are. That's another thing people do with using the past. You know, it'd be like, oh, this happened to me, so this is why I'm this way. Or that happened, and this is why I do it like that. And I just think that at some point in life, you got to let that go. Whatever that pain, hurt, frustration, you got to move forward, because all it's going to do is hold you back. And then, again, if you're using it for the reason why you want to be successful and you end up being successful, then how you going to get to the next stage? Because it's like you well removed from that situation. Okay, yeah, it sparked whatever it was in you to get to where you are, but now you've gotten where you got, and what now? You can't go back to the past again and use that. You already used it for what you needed it for. You can't hold on to the pain because you overcame whatever it was and you in the position that you in. So that's my thoughts on the past. Again, like I said, everybody is different in how they want to let it go or how they need to let things go. But like I said, at some point in time, you gotta let it go. Even my situations, I know the grudges that I'm holding on to, I'm gonna have to let them go one day. It doesn't necessarily mean that those people were back in my life. Doesn't mean that at all. It's just, at some point, it's just like, all right, I'm over it. It is what it is. It happened. I reflected. I healed, and I'm no longer holding on to that. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for coming to episode 2. I kept it kind of short because I know it's playoffs right now, and a lot of people are into the games and whatnot tonight. I'm definitely going to come with more topics, more organization, and as I get better with this, again, thank you for the support. Everyone have a good night, and see you next Sunday.